it too late to call you right back? I gotta be begging to say I'm off the drink, I'm feeling the vibe.
See, it doesn't let me disable the waiting room. It's all good though. We're still gonna make it work. All right, so if it's anybody's first time on the temperature check call, can you please drop a number 1 in the chat box? I just wanna make sure who I'm speaking to. I wanna make sure that I introduce myself to you so we could get the whole game going. Okay, so we have a couple of new faces, a couple new people. Let me prove. All right, so welcome to Temperature Check Thursday, guys. So Temperature Check Thursday, the whole purpose behind the call, I always like to do this little intro, so everybody's already been here. You probably know it by heart. But I started this whole entire call because it really kicked off of a simple conversation with Katie and myself. In the very beginning, I did see that there was a lot of really cool education, like systems going on, a lot of calls that were like, there was a lot to take from these calls, right? And I feel like it was so much of people like pouring in information. And I wanted to tell Katie, I told Katie, I remember I was like, sometimes certain things could get very overwhelming. And we should definitely make sure that we have a call to just tap in with people, talk about some mindset, talk about, touch different topics to empower, to strengthen, all that good stuff. So that's when Temperature Check really did come about. Katie didn't really give me a chance to think of the situation too much. She kind of just was like, cool, we start right now. Today's Thursday, Temperature Check Thursday. And to be completely honest with you guys, I'm glad that I had that push because this call has been going on for, I would say, just about 2, maybe 3 months now. Let me pin myself. 2, maybe 3 months now. And, every single time it does grow more and more. And, mindset is just always really important for everybody to touch base on. I feel like not a lot of people do shed too much light on that. So let's go ahead and kick the call off today. So let me see. I'm going to be adding people as I go as well. I don't want to leave them in the waiting room. So today's subject, I'm just going to jump right into it. Today's subject is I really want to discuss systems. All right. So it's safe to say that we've all grown up in systems, basically, like since we were really, really young. And what do I mean by that? When I say systems, I'm not going to hit the typical conversation of, it's grow up, go to school, do this. No, not that. I'm talking about real deal systems. If you really think about it from a really early age, we were taught in a very systematic way. A very handheld system, right? So since we were in school, we were in what seems to be a handheld system, like one where we are required to have an arrival time. Attendance is monitored. How long each subject and lecture is supposed to be, like even down to what type of retention is that we're having, like it's all put into a system. How do we get tested for our retention? Tests, pop quizzes, right? So we're taught new material every single day growing up, but your passing and failing grade really does depend on you. So maybe all of these years in education systems, maybe like that, how do I explain it? Maybe all these years in education system makes us think that that's the only way for us to actually be somebody in life. Maybe all the years in the education system had us graduate with too much of a who's watching me type of system. So we walk stage for a recognition, right? Better known as a diploma. But what we really what's really exciting about that for some people is not really the physical diploma, it's the recognition of it. So we're taught that that's the only way that we're celebrated, right? That's the only way that we're considered to be successful is if we're actually celebrated. So in a way, I can't really blame anybody for thinking that you can't snap out of that system of who's watching me, right? But when are you going to do it for yourself and not because you have to? When are you going to create your own schedule and curriculum guide and hold yourself accountable for it? Like, what would your report card be today if you actually had a report card that you had to self-evaluate yourself for in your life? Realistically. What's that attendance like for when do you show up for yourself? Do you have honor roll? Like, what's your attendance like? How many of us have projects that we still haven't set due dates for, family? Like, is it because no one's watching you, or is it because no one's giving you the guideline or the deadline? Because I'm sure that we can all relate. We've all been assigned projects back when we were in school, all assigned projects that when we had a deadline, even if it was the night before, we were like pulling an all-nighter, getting that done, putting all of our tools together and getting that project done, right? Why? Because we literally had to submit by a due date. Shit, we would even rush to the supply store the night before and get all of our supplies and do it that same day. But you know what? You would at least get it done. And you don't need an accountability or an overseer for everything, family. Like, you need to shake those systems out of your head because no one cares. It's a tough pill to swallow, but in life, no one is affected by what you do versus what you don't do directly. Not directly, at least. Like, I'm gonna stop adding people to the waiting. Sorry guys, I have to find a way to disable this waiting room because it keeps making me stop and go. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. But back to what I was saying, guys, like my whole point is saying that the only way that some of us even got certain projects done in life, and the last time that we probably even did a project correctly in our lives, was when we were given a due date to do it. And it really shouldn't even be like that. You don't have to have somebody overseeing you 24/7. You don't have somebody giving you the whole entire like guideline. Here, do this, do that. It's due by this date. Why can't you do that for yourself? A lot of us do have projects that we literally haven't even started and they're just floating in our heads because we won't do that for ourselves. You know, you have to set a deadline. Our mentors tell us every single time, set a deadline for your goals. It's not because it sounds nice. It's not because it's fun. It's because the only way to actually know if you're achieving something or to know if you're getting closer to it, because guys, okay, let's say that you don't meet your deadline. You at least were putting in those baby steps to get to it. You at least attempted. You at least had an intention to actually achieve something by a certain time, by a certain day. And guess what? Off rip, whether you finish it or not, you did the best that you could to finish it. But I need you to not sit there and think, I'm not by no means saying, hey guys, it's okay if you didn't finish the project that you put yourself to. No, it's not. It's not okay. Okay? I need you to have that same system that was taught to you a long time ago, pull an all-nighter, whatever it takes, by all means. Up until my class period, I am going to get this done. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to submit it. Whether you have fasted or not, no one could tell you but you. But you need to show up for yourself. Like, why is the last time that you actually put your mind to do something back when you were stuck in a system? I thought we were all in something that was meant to break systems. Like, that makes no sense. So you mean to tell me that if you don't set your alarm up, going back to the whole school function, you know you had to be at school at a certain time. You knew that you were going to be in school from this time to this time. Guys, when our mentors tell us, treat this like it's your school, treat this like it's your academy, they don't say it because, oh, cool, you tap in and you learn every day. No, because you really have to create a system for yourself to really be able to graduate that top trader, to graduate that top leader, to graduate and be somebody and start your own organization, start your own system. Like, this is really how it goes. You're a student to the game, not to be a student forever. You're a student to the game to take on a role later on in life. That's what happens when you go to school, right? You graduate high school, you go to college, you get a degree, and then you become what? You could become a teacher. Same thing applies. So if you don't set your alarm up at 4 a.m., no one's going to set it for you. If you don't meditate, no one will do that for you. If you don't journal, no one will do that for you. If you don't clock in for your entrepreneur self, no one will do it for you. Better yet, if you don't clock in for your entrepreneur self, no, let me put it like this. If you're not clocking in as an entrepreneur yet, that's fine. If you still have a job and you're not showing up to your job to clock in on time, what makes you think you're going to be able to clock in for yourself as an entrepreneur? I really don't mean to laugh, but I'm really serious. You can't do it. If you can't do it with an overhead still, what makes you think you're not going to make it out of the system? Realistically, when no one's watching. At that point, the joke's on you. Be real with yourself. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat this call because, like, I really am sharing something that needs to shift in a lot of people's lives. And I really wish that somebody did this for me before. Like, I really wish somebody sat me down and was like, listen, pressure. Apply pressure on yourself. But they didn't. I applied pressure on myself for myself. You want to know why? Because I realized that, okay, I set a cute little system for myself in the very beginning. I was like, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. I'm going to be up doing this, doing that. And guess what? I did that system for 2 months, maybe 3, but nothing that I wanted to obtain was coming out of it. So you know what I did? Crank it up a notch. Let me wake up at 5. Still didn't get what I wanted. Let me crank it up a notch. Let me wake up at 4. I don't got $1 million in my mattress. The hell I gotta sleep for? Like, no. Now I wake up at 3:30, family. 3:30. And you know how much I accomplish in a day? Every single day, I kind of get overwhelmed sometimes because I'm hitting every single part of my checklist. That's goals. Every single night, I'm pushing myself to show how am I going to show up for myself tomorrow? How am I going to show up for myself the day after? Now I can plan ahead. I prepared for this call earlier in the week. I told Katie and every single person in the leadership call what this call was going to be on because I planned for this earlier this week. I planned for everything. Everything on my checklist gets done. And guess what? It gets done correctly. Why? Because I set up guidelines, how it's gonna get done. I set up requirements for myself. Did I meet it or did I not? I grade myself because before somebody else sits in front of me and grades me, I'm gonna grade myself. Stop feeding into these systems and waiting for other people to evaluate you. Show up for you. Shame on you if you don't, realistically. And I'm simply just sharing results. I'm not sharing anything that's like, I'm just popping it out because it sounds like so. I'm sharing results. I'm sharing what really worked for me. There are 2 options in this world for every single person. You either do or you don't. You either do it or you don't. You either got it or you never will have it. You go get it. If not, you will never have it. How about that? The world doesn't have a chart where you get like a little star next to your name for every little thing that you do, family. Wake up. This ain't kindergarten. We ain't holding hands no more. It's not like oh my God, she meditated today. You should have. And you should have done it the day before that. And the day before that. You don't get a goddamn star because you did it 5 days in a row? The hell? Sorry, I keep cursing, but I'm here. We here. I don't do things in my life that take a moment of silence. Like, listen, sorry guys. I don't do things in my life for people to take a moment of silence. Like, no, like when I do things, I don't sit there and I'm like, who's applauding me? Like, oh guys, you would never believe it. I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, waits for an applause. No, like you look like a clown. Are you dumb? Like, you know how stupid that sounds? It does, right? It sounds crazy. When you do something to be celebrated in return, that's crazy. Whole lot of crazy. At the end of the day, guys, your actions speak for themselves. I don't need to report to my mentors for them to know that I'm working in silence. Never. I never pop up like, look at me. You want to know what I'm doing? You want to know why I'm like what I've been doing for myself? No, because I show up for myself, and my work, and my work speaks for itself. Sometimes independence is key. Yes, we have mentors, but stop the handheld systems. Realistically, Natalia and Katie, for example, I am not a burden to them. I go out there and I educate myself. Why? Because I look forward to adding to what these people have going on in their lives. You have a new or existing business that you want to launch? Like, educate yourself. Organize yourself. Create an execution plan. What's the deadline? Set one up by all means and get that shit done. Because you can't fail at something that you've never done. You don't fail a single person besides yourself for not showing up. So ask yourself, how efficient are you being when no one is watching? Hold yourself accountable for what you want to accomplish. I told you guys, I started this thing where I wake up at 3:30, which is like when I do my morning routine. It kicks in 4 a.m. Guess what I'm doing? Checking news. Forex, the Forex strength meter, analyzing charts. I do this Zoom call thing where like my students have my link and like, you know, they have access to it. My students have access to my link where I analyze charts live for them. Okay, I say if you guys don't get it, I have my Zoom link open from 4 a.m. till 9 a.m. when it's Mornings with Neno. Okay, I lead them straight to Mornings with Neno. I build that fuel and I lead them straight into the fire to keep their day going that way. Whether they show up or not is completely up to them. But do you think that their attendance makes or breaks my attendance? Hell no. Whether I'm by myself on that Zoom call or not, I'm there every single day. But when they do show up, you know what? They gain knowledge. My mentors didn't know that I was doing this until like a while in. Imagine that. Like, entrepreneurship is another word for self-accountability in my eyes, guys. Entrepreneurship in a community is a responsibility within itself. And why? Because you will either make it to sit at a big table, at the big table, or you'll be on the outside hearing about the conversations that took place at the big table. So which one are you going to be? Because I couldn't tell you what the person beside me is doing or has going on. My mentor couldn't tell you what the person beside them has going on. You want to know why? Because we're locked in, educating ourselves, disciplined and locked in, learning, not just the information in front of me, but searching for more. And you want to know why? Because when I'm sitting at a table full of entrepreneurs, it's my responsibility to add value. Because then why would I be invited for the second time? You should never sit around waiting for someone to pour information into you. Why? Because that shit is draining. It's draining for the person that's pouring into you. 1,000%. You guys ever heard of iron sharpens iron? We all have, right? You have to sharpen yourself, then worry about iron sharpening iron. You are what you attract. So take a look at yourself before you get frustrated at what you're attracting, family. I know it's hard sometimes, but it shouldn't be a video on YouTube that inspires you. It shouldn't be a post on Instagram that inspires you. It shouldn't be these calls that inspire you. You want to know why? Because that's such a temporary flame. That is a temporary flame. It's a baby spark. And that's all it is, a moment. So you need to be your own accelerant. Does everybody know what an accelerant is? An accelerant is what you add to like the grill whenever you want to start a fire, right? So you need to be your own accelerant. That way, when someone comes like a lit match, you spark a flame that cannot stop. Baby sparks get put out even quicker, but a real fucking fire, properly sparked, will burn forever. And I'm talking internal fire, family. So stop being afraid of unlocking your own strengths. Stop being afraid of obtaining your success. You limiting and depending on others, holding you accountable, tells me that that's what you're afraid of. Open your mind and cut the training wheels. Stop being afraid. Allow that fear to fuel you. Be the match that lights your own accelerant for a change. Take your life and break it down. Literally, take your life and break it down. The systems in our early stages of life put us in a box. Whether you see it or not, whether you admit it or not, these early systems in life put us in a box. And living in a box makes you a prisoner of your own mind. So stop taking away the possibilities of what you can obtain, what you can be. If your mind is shackled, you will never grow. If you never grow, you will never attract the people who you are meant to attract in your life. Guys, you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing your life, by facing yourself. Like, could you imagine dying without ever unlocking your full potential? Because you didn't show up for yourself? Like, you really at that point have nobody to blame. So like it really baffles me, guys, because like there's a lot of people that I know they're like, I always wanted to do like, forget like in a real life situation, I always wanted to do this, I always wanted to do that, but it just, I don't know, I just never did it. Like, what? Like, are you dumb? You don't show up for yourself? I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for people. I really do not have. I have a hard time sympathizing with people sometimes. You want to know why? Because I face a lot of situations where life literally made me eat shit. Well, not literally. That sounds really crazy. But life had me at like a rock bottom. And guess who got me out? Nobody. Guess who cried by herself? Me. Guess who starved by herself? Me. Nobody ever came knocking on my door. I always had to go and figure it out myself, because you have two options. You either sit there and continue crying, or you get the hell up and you do something about it. That's why I don't need, when I wanted to go to the gym and I wanted to get right, I show up for myself. I don't need a gym partner. The hell? So if you don't go tomorrow because you're lazy, I don't go either? No. That accountability shit, that's weak to me. I don't need it. You guys don't need it either. Break out of those shackles. You know what's crazy? I watched a video the other day. I'm going to look for it. I'm going to find it. But it's this video. It said, okay, so everybody, I don't know what everybody believes in, but we're going to put it like this. There's like a judgment day. There's like let's say that I was to die right now, right? Let's say, put yourself in this. Let's say you die right now. You die right now. You die exactly where you are in life. Like you die today. You're welcome and you're sat down. And then when you sit down, you're sitting like this, like face to face with God, right? Or whomever you believe in. You're sitting face to face. You get a file handed to you. The file has your name on it on the front, and then it has your description. Okay? Now, in that description, let's say, for example, I died today. So I died 28 years young, don't play with me. I was a part of fashion industry, and on that file it says I was a part of the fashion industry, worked with some top brands, proceeded to bring talents, the talents to my family's business, cool. I accomplished some nice things, gained some more experience, then started a journey, cryptocurrency, investments, educated myself, made investments, whatever. Like this is all part of my description, right? But now let's say that past that, like still on my file, are more accomplishments. But that list of accomplishments aren't true. Like those descriptions don't fit me. Let's say those descriptions say things like, this is something I tell myself every day. Let's say these descriptions say, I'm going to change the world. Marcy Fontoura changed the world. Marcy Fontoura broke cycles and set records. Marcy Fontoura reached chairwoman. Marcy Fontoura unlocked the top tier of her full potential. Marcy Fontoura, I don't know, like changed the world. Who knows, right? And then I look at it and I'm like, God, this isn't me. Like, there must be something wrong. This says that my name is, it says my name. It says it's Marcy Fontoura, but this right here, like the rest of this list, like I didn't do these things. It says here that I impacted millions of lives. It says that I traveled the world. It says that I spoke in front of millions of people, created a whole legacy. It says that I became chairwoman. It says that I impacted people. It says that I added value to people. All this stuff, right? This wasn't me, God. Like, what are you talking about? I didn't do these things. And imagine God just looks me dead in my eyes and says, no, but it was what you were supposed to do. Like, that's a reality check. What if there's a whole list of things that have your name on it that you never got to do, but it's who you were supposed to be? How fucked up would that be? And you have nobody to blame but yourself. Imagine who's gonna evaluate you at the end? Guys, I know that I said, sometimes people do things for people that are watching, but what are you really doing when no one's watching? Because if you really think about it, like if you guys have jumped on the calls with Neno, like Neno always gives Natalia her flowers. Why? What's the number one thing that man says about her? He says, I've walked into her room and I've seen her fall asleep in front of her computer. When was the last time you fell asleep in front of your computer? When was the last time that you went out and did your research? A lot of people sit here and wait for Natalia to come back with a full report like, yo, that's how you got a milli, guys. No. Stop doing that. Break out of these systems. You guys are all here for a reason. We're all here for a reason. Like, imagine, put it like this. I actually used this example the other day. Like, think of what we have in front of us as like a boot camp. right? Let's say you want to get drafted to go into the Air Force. For example, this is our boot camp to get, like, we got drafted. We already 1 foot in. Now, what comes in the boot camp? You got to condition, right? You got to train because you're going to go to battle. You're going to get on that field. So you got to train. And if you don't make it past phase 1, you're not going to make it into that. They ain't going to ship you out to war. Are you dumb? Like, but once you do make it past that cut, what comes next? The conditioning, the strength building, the mental part building, all of that to prepare you for the war, right? When we're all drafted, it's a matter of what we can all do as a unit, what we can all do together, right? Because we're all strong soldiers. It's not a matter of, you shoot that. I ain't doing this today. No, like, we are preparing for what is going to come. Like, we have to attack together. We build each other as a unit. We're all being poured the same amount of information. We all have access to the same amount of information. So why are we not all showing up? Why are we not all bringing something to the table? Why are we all waiting to get spoon fed? Why? Get up. Wake up. Don't bring these old systems into a whole new, this is a whole different type of establishment. This is not a system. This is what's gonna break you into freedom. Treat it like that. I feel like I kind of rambled down. Oh my gosh, my face is red. I don't have makeup on, y'all. I can't hide my face right now. I low-key kind of like popped off really quick. Let me breathe something. I didn't even bring water. What's your excuse? I didn't bring water. I'm just kidding. Okay, no, but my whole point behind all this is, guys, like, we really need to take a moment, look at yourselves in the mirror, and really, really dig deep. Because when people say, like, would you follow yourself? It's not because it sounds like messed up. It's not because like a little jab. No, it's not that at all. It's a straight up, really, would you follow yourself? Because there's a lot of people I would even follow to the water fountain, to be real with you. Would you follow yourself? Create those standards. Create the leader that you want to be. Be the mentee that you want to have. Be the friend that you want to attract. Be the leader that you want to attract and be able to sit at a leader's table. Because, guys, those leader tables, like those little dinners and all that stuff that y'all see on Instagram, the chairman dinners, those aren't just like here's the address, show up if you can. No, you're invited to that. That seat is earned. It's not just for fun. Stop treating this like it's a game. Show up for yourself. Because I don't feel bad for anybody. I'm that person. I do not feel bad for anybody. I want to be the person that my mentors don't even know half of the stuff that I have going on. But you know what? They can ask me, Marcy, what have you learned? The other day I sent Katie a chart that was ridiculous. Like, I literally was like, holy crap, I blew my mind. Do you know how rewarding that is? So now I have to sit there and be like, dang, the signals chat, I'm not getting too many signals. No, guess what? I'm testing and creating signals to be in the signals chat because I want to add value. What are you adding, people? What are we adding? So with that being said, I always like to leave off with like a little bit of like a journaling assignment, because you can't lie to yourself. So when there's you in that pen and that book, if you lie to yourself while you're journaling, then that's a whole different type of different problem that you might have, family. But when you sit down in that journal tonight, you guys should close off today with a little bit of a intention for the next day. You should really sit down with your journal and dig deep and be like, who am I? Ask yourself, who am I as a leader? Who would follow me? Who can I compare myself with? And really be generous when you compare yourself to somebody, if you're going to compare yourself. Really evaluate yourself. Give yourself a report card. Okay? Tomorrow's December 3rd. You have another chance, another day. Who are you going to be December 3rd? When you close off December 3rd, who are you going to be December 4th? And you know what? Every single day you progress more and more and more and more, and give yourself an end of the week evaluation and set your intention for the week to come and the one to follow and the one after that and the one after that. And I promise you, all those little baby steps, they count. By the time you look back and be like, Whew. Dang, that was P150. I'm all the way at Chairman 10. That's the only way you grow. You don't just grow by building an organization. Who are you that is leading that organization? Are you leading an empty organization? Do you know what you're talking about when you're leading that organization? Or are you just depending on your leaders to actually pour into your organization? What are you? Ask yourself that question tonight. But I think that that's a safe way to go ahead and resume temp check. If you got any type of value from this call, drop a fire in this chat box. I want to see it. I'm about to put the accelerant. Drop a match in this chat box if you got any type of value. Fire. Guys, this is no joke. What we all have in front of us, guys, I need you guys to understand that this, every time you type in iam.academy onto your search box, that is a million, even $billion item that you have in front of you. So why are you playing with it? Family, don't play with what's in front of you. You have the full control of how far you get with this. How far are you willing to take it? If somebody gave you $1 million today, what are you going to do? Are you going to mismanage that money too? So why are you mismanaging your time? Stop playing yourself. Family, I appreciate you all. That's going to resume my temperature check call for tonight. We will be here again every single Thursday. I'm going to drop this into YouTube as well. Recording is going to be available if you do want to share with anybody. Drop a comment. Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm still getting new to this stuff, guys. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you to every single person that showed up today. And oh, here, let me send my YouTube link. I'm sorry. Let me stop this recording.